Hi, welcome to Driving with Andy Sinker. I am Andy Sinker and I'd like to run you through a short presentation. In this presentation, it's given me an opportunity for me to introduce myself and to let everyone know of the support I have available and how to access it. First of all, who am I? Well, I've been an approved driving instructor since 2020. I'm an elevator pass driving test nerve specialist. I hold a BTEC level 4 in coaching for driver development, and I'm a member of the Institute of Master Tutors of Driving. Between 2022 and 2026, I've been in the top 100 driving instructors as voted for by the Intelligent Instructor Awards. And in 2023, I was highly commended for Driving Instructor of the Year for Yorkshire and the Humber. And in 2025 and 2026, I hold a Silver Award for Driving Instructor of the Year for Yorkshire and the Humber, still with the Intelligent Instructor Awards. In 2026, I was awarded Driving Instructor of the Year for England by Go Roadie Awards. Before people start having driving lessons with me, I send out some information so they can actually make a start on their theory test and start looking into this. On there, it's got a theory test help booklet that I've produced. In there, it's got quizzes and puzzles to help with learning, make it a little bit more fun. And also, I provide Drive on Theory apps sheets as produced by Dr. Julia Malkin. In there, there's lots and lots of information to help people learn to drive and to get through the theory test. I also send links to YouTube, to TikTok, to podcasts that people can use so they can look at their particular learning style to see what suits them best to help them with the learning. Before people start to learn to drive on the first driving lesson, I ask them to sign a learning agreement. This is basically so we know we're on the same page when we're learning and we know what to expect from each other. The aims when people come for lessons from me are to build on skills and knowledge to promote growth and development that a new driver can build on post-test, and they continue developing when driving independent. I'll be using skills and information in the car that's going to make them reflect on what they've done and how they can do better next time. I'm going to create a non-judgmental environment where learning can take place in a safe, open environment. And I'm going to provide an environment where learning can take place promoting good decision making. Most collisions happen because somebody makes a bad decision. What we need the people who learn to drive with me to be the ones making the good decisions, so we're ready for somebody makes a bad decision, and we're trying to preempt what other people are going to do as well. So when they do make a bad decision, hopefully we're ready for it and we can remain safe in our vehicle. All training is delivered by one-to-one training. It'll be me and the learner, but I do encourage learners to bring people along on driving lessons if they want them. This is particularly important as it gets nearer the test, as it puts the student feel under more pressure, and it's more real-world driving when they're bringing their friends in the car and they've got a bit more of a distraction. All the way through, I'll be given access to training material and resources. This might be via the app, or I might send text with information on it or things for them to look at. We'll be using coaching techniques and discussions in the car, trying to get the students to actually realise why they do what they do. I'll be asking their opinion on how to deal with situations and what their thoughts are going along, how they're feeling about things, because we need to make sure that they're prepared to drive and they're ready to be thinking drivers. If they're thinking of how to deal with situations when they're involved in those situations in the future, hopefully they'll have a faster recall rather than thinking, oh, what did Andy say about this? They'll have that skills already in there. I'll be using presenters, for example, like iPad diagrams. I've got toy cars, bits of paper. I've got other books that I can use, all sorts of things in the car. So hopefully I've got everybody's learning style covered. And independent work after the driving lesson, this may be via reflective logs or bits of homework that get set. As a course facilitator, what I'm going to offer is a place where learning can take place in a safe environment as possible. We are driving on the roads, so we have to try and remain as safe as possible. My number one priority is that we're safe and everybody around us safe. After that, we're learning to drive. I'll be non-judgmental. I'll be open and honest. People might not always like what I'm going to say to them, but I do have to be honest with them because it's important that that person knows if I've been sat at the other side of the car on the dual brakes, worried about something, we need to have that conversation. So when that student's driving on their own, hopefully this doesn't happen again. I'll have good timekeeping. External factors may be an issue, though. I am driving around on the streets in Leeds where we don't know what we're going to come across every time we turn a corner. There could be an incident going on. We could have roadworks. If I'm going to be late, I'll let you know as soon as possible. Also, I am driving a car that can malfunction, so if I'm going to be late or can't make it for any reason, I will let you know as soon as possible. I will be respectful. I'll be willing to listen, particularly if it's anything that could involve the person's driving, as things that have happened to us. If we're feeling tired, if we've been in an argument, it can affect our driving. So I am willing to listen, and hopefully that'll help with the drive going ahead. I'm going to provide a professional learner driving environment. Underneath there, there's a box where if the learner does want anything else from me in the agreement, we can add that to it, and then we can sign that together. What I ask for learner drivers is to try their best, be open and honest. If they need to cancel a lesson, I do ask for 48 hours notice before the lesson starts, as this gives me time to get another student in for that lesson, as this is my sole income. And I do ask people to pay for driving lessons at least 72 hours before the lesson, as I use this confirmation that the person still wants the lesson. If it gets after 72 hours, I'll usually send a text reminder out. If it gets to 48 hours before the lesson, I've not heard anything from anybody, even if they're not paying for the lesson straight away, if they're waiting for somebody to get into an account or something like that, that's fine as long as I know. But if it gets 48 hours and I've not heard anything from the student, I may cancel that lesson and give it to somebody else. As I said before, this is my sole income. If there's any concerns, please speak to me. I do ask students to complete reflective logs. This can be found on the Total Drive app, which I provide, and it's there circled in red. If you click on reflective logs, and then if you go on to past logs, it'll give them 6 questions. The idea of reflective logs is to give learners an opportunity after they've gone home and they've sat down and they've relaxed a little bit to reflect on their lessons, how their drive's gone, and see where they think they're doing really well or where they're not doing as well as I'd like to do, so we can work on that. It's been proven that people who do reflective logs, they actually improve a lot quicker with their driving, because between lessons it's keeping things fresher in the mind. And also post-test, if they're in the idea of when they have a driving lesson, when they've driven, they think about how it's gone, hopefully they'll carry this on post-test, which will then result in them getting safer and safer as they go along. I have websites available, and on there's lots of support, particularly the downloads page. I've got an information book there which I do suggest that all my learners read. In there it's got information about driving lessons and about the driving test and what to expect. I've got a theory test help booklet which I mentioned earlier on. I've got a learning log on there, where people can go on there and they can have a little exercise and things which does help make people learn faster. I've got reflective logs on there if people don't like the ones on the Total Drive app, they can do it on paper base. And also I've got show me, tell me flashcards on there. When people are coming close to a practical test, they will need to do a show me and tell me question on their practical test. There's flashcards there to help people to remember them. I've also got a YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, I've got lots of different things. At this moment in time on there, there's a lot of things about the theory test. A lot of information on there, some presentations to help to get that information over. So I would recommend like watching one of them, then going away, having a break. When they've had a bit of a break, coming back and watching another one, because it is a lot of information to take on. I am a member of the Honest Truth Project. The Honest Truth Project looks at the most common reasons why young people have issues, including the fatal 5, the 5 top reasons why young people are involved in serious collisions resulting in life-changing injuries or death. The idea of this one is then we will watch a TikTok style video in the car. It's about 2 minutes long, and this opens a talk about that topic, in the hope that when students do find themselves in situations, they're a bit better informed so they don't get themselves into these scrapes. I offer 2 courses about driving anxiety. The first one I'm talking about here is by Confident Drivers, and it's a driving nervous driver's calming kit. On here, as you go around the side there, you'll see lots of different courses that are available to the learner. One that I do particularly ask them to do is a driving test nerves calming kit. Even people who are really, really confident about things, when it comes to driving test and they're sat there and suddenly there's somebody sat beside them with a fluorescent top on with an iPad and they're staring at them, it can make them feel very, very anxious. And if they're not prepared to feel anxious, this can be a big problem. This is free of charge to you guys because I pay for this. And as you can see on the bottom of the page there, it would normally be £57, but you don't pay anything for it because I've already paid. If that course isn't for you, I also offer Diane Hall's course. This is the driving test nerves course. And the idea of this one is there's a lot of videos and a bit of things to read. If one style doesn't work for you, I recommend just going to the other one. It doesn't make no difference whatsoever which one you use, but I would definitely recommend using one of these courses to, particularly when it's coming towards your driving test or if you're feeling particularly anxious. I do offer support Zooms. I try to open my Zoom room about once a month, so learners and their people who are supporting them can come on and talk to me. I'll try to keep up to date with relevant information. There's a lot of things going on at the moment with changes to tests and the way we give driving lessons. So you might hear things over on YouTube, on TikTok, where people are trying to give you information. A lot of that might be clickbait, where people just want you to click onto them because that's how they make their living. Hopefully I can keep the information relevant. I try to keep up to date with things so you can make sure that you've got the actual information that's there. And it's also an opportunity for you to ask any questions. The only thing I do ask is you don't ask about individual learners on the support Zooms, as there are maybe other people and their families on there. So if you want to talk about your individual learner, I've got no problem at all doing that, but we'll do that away from the support Zoom, so I can talk to you honestly and openly about them. I also occasionally hold quiz nights. The idea of this one, we can go on there and just make theory a little bit more fun. You don't have to be doing your theory tests to actually come on there. Any students who have had lessons with me in the past or are having lessons are more than welcome to attend those. They come on there then, and we could just try and keep things again updated. I try to add things in there that are changing in the theory test world that you may not have come across before. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the Driving with Andy Sinker community. If you've got any questions, please feel free to contact me. My mobile number is 073 0544 0539. I would recommend sending me a text, as I can't often get back to you because I will be driving. So I suggest you send me a text. Alternatively, if you contact me on andy@andysinkerdriving.co.uk. Thank you for listening.